thinking about Michael Singer's surrender experiment. You say yes to what life throws at you. Like you cannot know ahead of time.
Surrender and do, because you can't get it wrong. Everything is on offer if you just stop looking. And the moment you stop looking and you turn the flashlight off, the entire place illuminates.
Do you think it could be as simple as just saying yes? You say yes to what life throws at you. And I was thinking about Michael Singer's surrender experiment, um, where, he was determined that he was going to live a life of solitude in Florida and, just build his own little temple for himself and just go within for the rest of his life. And then, but, but life kept coming and just asking of him these things, like be a builder, like run a multi-million pound tech business, and so on and so on. And he talked about, like my intellectual brain was going, no, 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 I'm supposed to be just meditating and going within and finding my spiritual soul. But then he also knew that life, that's not how the universe worked. And so his job was to say yes. Could it be that simple, rather than even having to think about, my God, do I hear the music of the dawn? And is this the music of the dawn that I'm supposed to listen to? That the music of the dawn is whatever life puts in front of you. And your only job is to say yes.
I think you've nailed it. It goes back to this concept that you just can't get it wrong, because no matter what happens, whether you take the role that's been offered to you or you marry the person who you've suddenly met and can't quite decide, or you quit your job and you go and work building water systems in the Dominican Republic. Like, it doesn't freaking matter. Surrender and and do, because you can't get it wrong. In fact, you're meant to get it wrong. I think that's the most liberating thing that I've come to contemplate recently, is you're meant to get it wrong. You're meant to fuck things up royally. And sometimes it's traumatic. You end up in a divorce, or you end up in a really, I don't know, somebody dies as a consequence of your choices. That's never a good thing. I think you're meant to get it wrong, and I think you're meant to fuck things up. And so you can't and I know we have problems with this word, but you can't make the wrong choice. There's no right or wrong. It's just go do. And whatever you
Mm.
do, that is you building your container. And then at some point you'll go, I want to now, I've lived, I've built, I've accumulated. Now I want to go on a different transformation. Like, now I'm going to reorder my thinking, and I'm going to focus on my spiritual transformation as opposed to my human transformation. Um, and so just go do.
In one sense, it makes it simpler. In a bizarre way, it makes it feel harder because because you really do, to use an old Bilby term, you really do give it up to God, and you're not always going to like what God or the universe puts in front of you. So that's why it's called surrender, I guess. And that's why I was like, oh, maybe it's just as simple as you say yes. Even the Richard Rohr idea, and I guess everything is a framing to help you see how the game unfolds for us all. This idea of building up and then shedding and reordering, and I wonder, are we building and are we reordering at all, or is that just the nature of what happens? Is that is that the nature of the experience, which is you that's what happens. You're saying yes, and yes looks like creative, acquisitive endeavors was when you're inexperienced in this game. And then you start to see through it all, and then suddenly life just starts to show you different things. And so it looks like a reordering, it looks like a letting go, but it's still all the same thing. And that the peaceful transition is available to anybody at any stage that just sees, oh, this is all one big adventure where my only job is to say yes, to go with what shows up. Um,
But it's like, like I know we've said this before about being in Disneyland. Like if you're a kid in Disneyland and somebody says, "Hey, do you want to go on this ride?" Your answer is yes. Your answer is not like, "Well, is there water involved? How high does the roller coaster go? Like what's the
will I
G
feel sick? Will
force?
I get scared?
Yeah, will I barf?" Like it's like no kids doing that. A kid's just looking at it and going, "Holy smokes. This is like the best day ever." And I think it is that. And you may vomit. You may be terrified out of your wits, but you won't know it until you've done it. So just go do it and see.
Well, that last sentence is the key one, isn't it? Just go do it and see. Like you cannot know ahead of time. Um, and that applies to anything. And even as you were talking there, and you go through the whether it's go for a game of golf, whether it is you know leave your partner, leave a job. Well, here's just something that I'm curious to hear your perspective on. So, what is resistance then? And what I mean by that is, I would imagine someone listening here can go like, "Well, that's just a choice. Like that's a choice." But you could have said no to golf. People say no to things all the time. So, what is the difference between resistance or letting go, and is there a difference?
It probably isn't in the strictest sense, in the most pure sort of first principle thinking sense. But the difference that I would highlight is the the surrender go see attitude is is a full acceptance of I don't know, whereas resistance I think is a I want to know. I think that's the fundamental difference that I see. And it is hard. It's hard to do initially, to transition from I want to know to I don't know, because I don't know quickly leads to oh I see. Oh, I see. And that is the enjoyable part of it. So let's take this golf trip as an example. Did I play golf? Yeah, I did. Did I played some great golf and I played some horrendous golf. But I wasn't just there for the golf. I went there to go see. And I met some really amazing human beings. who are doing amazing shit in the world. And I will, as a result of this golf trip, golf in inverted commas, I'm going to, it's going to lead to all sorts of other stuff. In fact, the plane ride over um, was, I was just sitting quietly, and then I started chatting to this guy Dave, and I was like, "Ah, I see. Okay, now I know why I'm here." And then I met this amazing caddy, and I was like, "Ah, okay, I see. I see what I'm meant to see here." And so it was a few pockets of that. There were probably 3 or 4 moments, including, the common denominator of the I see moments was just the sheer natural beauty of, fuck yeah, I see. Okay. And so I walk away and I don't remember any of the holes. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 holes. Like I'm not that into golf that I'm like, oh, this one is a dog leg left or that one's a dog leg right. Like I couldn't give you the numbers or anything. I just played golf and I had a great time. But I do walk away with all of those IC moments. And that was all as a result of saying, I don't know. I don't really want to know, but I know I'll see.
Hmm. Well, I really that's a great perspective. That I don't know quickly leads to I'll see. And I was thinking it's the feeling that you do anything with. I was just thinking about as well, what's the difference between resistance and letting go? Because it's not the difference between saying yes or saying no. Like sometimes you can be saying yes, and that's just as much as resistance as saying no, because you're not you're it's the feeling with which you're doing something. You could have not you could have been sat here saying, no, I didn't go and play golf and still be sharing the exact same level of insight. If you were like, oh no, everyone went to golf, but I just was like, I didn't want to go play golf, so I didn't go play golf. And then you'd be talking about being at home or being wherever and all these amazing things that were what you were meant to see by not going to play golf. And the reason I say that is because it's the feeling with which you do anything, you know. If you're saying no or saying yes to something and it feels, oh, you can't be at peace with yourself. Like to me, that's the resistance. And peace comes with going with the flow. And we all know what the flow of life feels like. Like we all know what that flow of life feels like. Sometimes the tide come pulling you back, and sometimes it's the tide pushing you out. But when you're trying to resist the tide, but you can't resist the tide. Like that's the point. You can't resist the tide, but you can create suffering. You can create the feeling of resistance, which means that you're not surrendering to the current. But when you surrender to the current, then actually you can see what's there for you because you're not busy trying to resist. Whereas, like, I could imagine me going on, like, or anybody, but going on that golf trip and then, you know, being all up in their heads about, like, oh, God, maybe I shouldn't be here. And are these people? And then you don't get to chat to Dave or the caddy because you're too up in your head versus surrendering. And because you had surrendered, therefore, you're like open to chatting to Dave. For some reason, you're going to have to tell me why Dave was special because I hate people who tell stories and go, oh, and then I was meant to talk to Dave and then just moves on and talks about the caddy. And I'm like, what was so special about Dave? But I think that is that for me, that's what strikes me in this conversation is being at peace with the flow of life and go, oh, yeah. Okay, I'm not meant to go to that. I'm meant to go to this. How do you know? Well, because I am. Because turns out that that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm doing. This is where I'm ending up. And when you're living in there, and I don't know where it's going to lead, but I know I'm going to see very soon, that has such a different feel to it.
And I think there's an important point here around the OLC is you will see you don't have to look.
Mm. Yeah,
Because I think
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the moment you start looking, then you fall back into the I have to know.
Mm.
And it's a wonderful kind of like a paradigm shift of the less I want to know, the more I'll see.
Mm.
But the more I want to know and the more I have to, the more I look in order to know, the less I see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because you're looking, number one, you're looking for the unfindable because you have no idea. So you're looking for what you think might be on offer.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a bit like those games, and like those optical kind of illusion games where they'd be like just and they you just kind of zone out. And it's like don't try and see anything in the picture, just relax and you almost defocus, and
Yeah.
then suddenly the hidden whatever's hidden in the picture becomes visible, and you're like, oh my god, I'd never have seen that.
You used the analogy once of being in it's like being in a warehouse with full of amazing goodies.
Hmm.
But I think when you're looking, you just have a, a torch or a flashlight in your hand and there's a single beam and you're like, oh no, okay, that's an amazing goodie. But what else is out there? And then you flash over in the next corner and you see another amazing thing, but no, but now the thing that you saw previously is like it's in the dark somewhere, like you've lost it, and you don't quite realize that everything is on offer if you just stop looking. And the moment you stop looking and you turn the flashlight off, the entire place illuminates, and you're like, oh wow, this is all on offer. Look at all these goodies. And
Mm.
that I don't know if that's right, dude. Like I could be smoking ganja here, but I'm just saying that that's how I think about it. Um, and that thing that you said about being in the warehouse has always stuck with me because I really feel like when I just surrender and I accept that I don't want to know, but I know I'm going to see. I know I'm walking into the warehouse. I'm in the warehouse and it's all on offer. The shelves are stacked, and you're just like walking, and you're like, "Holy smokes! Look at that! I didn't even know that existed. It's amazing."
Oh, no, it's so true. It makes me think of a much more like like a different there's just a different example, but it is the when you were younger, well it still happens now, but definitely when I was younger, you would get yourself so amped for like a Friday or a Saturday night out, and you'd be like, it's going to be the best night ever, and boom, 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 and you go out and it falls flat. But then on a Wednesday evening, you end up just going for a couple of beers with a couple of mates with nothing on it, and then suddenly you have these the most amazing adventures. And I think about it a little bit like that. You're so intent on finding something. It's got to be this way, and then you're just like, what happened? And you're like, I don't know, just it's too busy trying to see something, create something, that I missed everything. And then the day when you're just super chilled, and you're just going with the flow, suddenly turns into something that almost feels miraculous, and you go, I don't, could never have planned that, even if I tried. And that just feels like everything we're talking about, and it's so counterintuitive, really. um it's so counterintuitive to give up on that, to give up on wanting to know, um because that's what it is. Like, that is what sits in the suffering of every choice, is wanting to know,
Mm.
wanting to know the unknowable, versus living in the land of I don't know, but I guess I'm gonna see. Wow, mate, we said we'd keep this one punchy and short, but
Yep.
I feel like that's we might have to practice a few more of these. That felt good.
Mm.
Um, I feel like that's the bumper sticker for this one. If I had a bumper sticker, mine would say, "I don't know where I'm going, and I can't wait to see what's there."
Mm. Perfect. All right, my friend. Well, thank you for exploring with me, and that was. It's amazing what comes up in our weeks, and yeah,
Mm,
that was interesting. And I know that you're also you're experiencing some fun things at Jewel and exploring stuff. So can't wait for you to bring some of that into the room. And I know I'm really excited for our next guest because it's one of the 3P OGs. And I think we really want to continue that conversation that we had the other day about how do you blend the what a friend of ours lovingly refers to as the hocus pocus. How do you blend the hocus pocus and then getting shit done in the business
yeah,
world?
yeah,
So I think we're going to explore that with our guest on the next episode.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm excited for that, and that'll be next week, and that's with yeah, with well, we might as well drop his name. It's with Joe Bailey, another Three Principles OG. So for those that listened to the Dickon episode or Mavis, it's from that school that we're going to be taking our teachings in the next episode. So hopefully you'll join us for that, and that you've enjoyed myself and Bilo's meanderings. And wherever you are off to, I'm excited, and we are excited for what you're going to see. Until you're with us next time, go forth and live into your brilliance.